As you know, my name is Gilbert Foxcroft, and I want to introduce you to Neville Barnard. I think at this point in time, he's most probably one of the most prolific big carp anglers in the country. And we've asked Neville to just come and show you guys today exactly what his setup is, what his approach is to big fish angling, because that's dramatically different to what I do when I do competitive carp angling. So without further ado, Neville.
Thank you,
The floor
Gilbert.
is yours.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you again for being so patient. The organization hasn't been perfect, but we are here now. Gilbert threw me into the deep end now, telling me that I must speak about my way of big carp fishing. But it's, like I said earlier, it's something I do every weekend and something I'm going to do next weekend, so it's not something new to me. The main thing about hunting the biggest carps, getting the right lakes is important. So your research needs to be top-notch. You go to all your forums, go on Facebook, read your magazines, see where's big fish coming out, and see if that's or specific fish. Maybe you want mirror carps, or maybe you want potbellies, or maybe you want linears, or maybe you want your 40-pounder or your 50-pounders. You'll go to specific lake sports for specific type of things. If you go there, like I said, your mindset must be different to competitive fishing. You're not going after quantity, you're going after quality. So, like I said, you need time. For my normal kind of fishing, I do 4 to 7 days of fishing. Now, I'm lucky at this stage, I have the time, I can do it. Not everybody has that kind of time. So what I suggest is, if you don't have that kind of time, is learn as much as possible about the specific lakes. You know the areas that produces big fish, the specific spots, the specific bait, the specific rig. That will lessen your time spent next to the lake for a big fish. If you can pre-bait an area, like I discussed with this other gentleman just now, if you fish reed flay, I'll say if to target a big fish there, maybe you must pre-bait the spot with your specific bait. And not the normal spots. I know everybody, let's say, go to 160 meters, maybe try 200 meters out, completely to a different area. That's what I do in my big fish. Let's say I go to Klipkoppie or any other big lake where you hunt really, really big fish. Is I don't go with a lot of feed because I don't want 10 carps. You're fishing for one fish. So I take my fish finder, that's very important, and I go out and I look for my spots, my drop-offs, my gullies, my bars, my little plateaus, where's a rock pile, where's trees, where's water grass, all those kind of things attract big carp in general. And yeah, as you can see, I've got set up here. I was, a week and a half ago, I was in KZN in Ananda. This is a map I made of the nature reserve area by Ananda. So all these little marks I've got is the drop-offs and gullies and little plateaus and things I got. So that's the places I targeted with mousetrap method. Now what I say mousetrap method, some of you have never heard that phrase before. That is, you're putting a small amount of feed in a very, very specific area for specific fish. So you're not making a mass feeding spot, you're not constantly putting bait on that spot. It's like gooi and los. You choose your area, get your gully, you make sure your ground is hard. You put your sinker down, you put a handle too full of bait on your spot, and you go and you just leave that spot for up to 3 days. I've left my spots for days and days and days, and then get runs and then get 40-pounders. So that's very important, is location. In any lake, I would say that's probably some of your biggest problem, is getting to know where the big carp are and have the time for them to come past. Secondly, my setup. When you got your spot, your dam, your preparation is done, now you're going to take out your lines. This is where this comes in. This is my preferred fishing style. It's completely different to the setups you'll see Gilbert show you guys now. It's so strong, it's actually ridiculous. The guys laugh at my setup. I've got 30-pound main line on my reel, 900 meters of Power Pro. On top of that, I've got 80 to 150 pound Power Pro as leaders, 20 meters of that. In this specific case, this green line here, you can come later and you can see, that's 100 pound Power Pro leader. I've got 20 meters of that. Now, why so long? Because if you get stuck, that's your recovery leader. You want to get that on top of your boat, so that gives you 60 foot that you can get stuck on, get the leader still in your hand and get a break. So the only thing that will break is this, or at least at the utmost with your nylon leader. You won't lose your whole setup every time. Yeah, that's very important because this stuff is expensive. Nowadays, this game is very expensive. Now, you'll see I've got nylon on here. Now, why do I do that? Some of the lakes like Tsanin that I fish, if you've ever heard about Tsanin, you'll know that there is a hell of a lot of tree stumps and structure in the lake. So if you put braid leaders straight to your lead core or whatever you use here, it's going to cut into those trees and you're going to lose your fish. So to eliminate that problem, I use nylon. You can use very different types of nylon. I've got a shock leader here, it's 0.80. So I put my 0.80. Now that also, the length depends on, where I'm fishing. Like Tsanin, I'll probably make this 10 meters. If it's a Quaggas or some other place that I know, the only problem that I know of there is little steel dropper poles in the lake or little boulders. Then I'll make this shorter. It's not necessary for 10 meters of this, but like Tsanin, I'll fish 10 meters of that. This also helps for rocks, but it's not the best thing if you want to fish for in water grass and lilies, those kind of things. Then I'll rather leave the nylon out. Then you want a braid because braid cuts. So if you're fishing rocks and you're fishing tree stumps, you use nylon. If you fish water lilies, water grass, snotterbellen, those kind of things, you use braid, straw, because it cuts. Coming down, I've got two preferred setups. I've got this, I'm not sure what it's called now. It's this liquid wire things.
Yeah, it's the lead-free.
Lead-free. It's like a lead core without the lead, but it sinks like a rock. This is actually very strong. I used that on my last session now with Inanda, and I landed 20 odd carp, no problems whatsoever on this. So this I actually like for something new that's on the market just now.
Brand new product that we just launched today. So.
If you're fishing more severe snags, serious rocks, serious tree stumps, then I'll go with a 1 mil leader. So I'll attach this 0.80 or 0.90 to this 1 mil. This won't break. It can't break. A carp can't break this. It's stuff that we fish for 200 kilo fish in the sea for. This doesn't break. So then I'll use this section here up until my sinker. You'll see I've got a safety system here. That's very important when you're hunting big fish. With catching a 50 pounder, it's not something that happens every day. It comes once in a lifetime for some people. And you don't want to lose that fish because of a 9 rand sinker. So drop the sinker. It's very important. It helps the carp. If you put pressure, you drop your sinker immediately. It comes up in a water column, away from the snags. Your snags are on the bottom. It comes up. You can go and fetch your fish.
What do you prefer?
My size hooks are bigger than norm, size 1, size 2s. Because you're hunting a fish that's got a mouth this big and lips as thick as my thumb. So you want something that can penetrate and hold, and you're going to pull that fish extremely hard. The weight of the fish is double like you catch normally. So you want to pull that fish away from the snags. I use size 1, size 2, size 4s. I don't very rarely go like size 6s and 8s and those kind of things. Only in extremely specific situations I'll do that. If I see the fish don't come out on big baits, and I'll put a single crane of maize on, then maybe I'll put an 8 on. But also, look at your pattern. Test it before the time with your puller so it doesn't pull. You make sure that thing is 100%. Maybe I can talk about bait quickly. My preferred bait is particles. I know the book says boilies catches the big fish, and in some cases it do. Even if you fish Donaldson Top Lake, Donaldson Bottom Lake, Rietvlei, those kind of places, you can go with boilies and you'll probably catch a really big fish. I've had huge fish on boilies. But 90% of my fishing is done in wild waters. And cats is a big problem. And so for that reason, I concentrate excuse me, more on particles and tiger nuts as bait. And but it doesn't, a tiger nut is a small thing if you look at it on the ground, but placed in the correct spot, it can really catch you a really big fish. My feed is, like I said, particles, but I play around. I like drawing fish from different parts of the water column, because it's not that the fish will be on the bottom 90% of the day. A lot of their time is spent in mid-waters, so you want to draw them down. What helps if you do that is if you add oils into your mix, stuff like coconut husks, those kind of things. If you cook your hemp and your tigers with coconut husks in, the smell is absolutely amazing, first of all. And you'll see when you drop it in the water, it's the bigger stuff, your maize and your maples and your red core sorghum, your tigers, your crust tigers, all those kind of things will go to the bottom quite quickly. That stuff goes like this, slowly, slowly, slowly. So it sits on top of whatever is on the bottom. If you're not sure what's on the bottom, maybe you're fishing silt. I've actually done in Anda now the other day, I actually did better in the silt than on the gravel. And all the carps, you can ask Peter, he'll show you pictures, he took pictures. The mouths were black, black, black inside. So they were specifically targeting the saltier areas. But then you must alter your rigs and your presentation, critically balanced bait. Make sure your bait is critical so it goes down very, very slowly, very softly, sits on top of the whatever mortar or something you've got there. And, excuse me, the coconut husk, like I said, goes down softly and it sits on top. What also helps if you add condensed milk, those kind of things to your mix. It also clouds up the water. It draws the carps from up top down. And even in big fish angling, I say you need days and days and days. But I've had 40s literally minutes after casting out because I knew the lake, I knew the spot, I pre-baited correctly. I did everything correctly and I was on the fish immediately. So you don't necessarily need time, but as a rule you do. So yeah, that's, I think that. What do you still need? Is there any questions? Yes? Okay, jij was eerste. Bait preparation is very important. I know the rule says that you have to soak your bait and cook it, and it does help if you soak it before the time and cook it because your time will be less. Time is very important to all of us. But luckily, unfortunately for me, sometimes my time is limited, so I start my cooking process when I get it home. So I put everything together and I cook it for about 3 hours. You'll see some of your lesser stuff, your red sorghum, your maples, all those kind of things will be actually mush. It will be like almost disintegrated, but your tigers and your maize will be just perfect. Then after that, I will put that into a bucket, close that bucket until I go fishing. For the next 3, 4, 6, 8 hours after that, it also keeps on cooking in that bucket. So when I get to the lake, all my stuff is perfectly cooked. And speaking of that, you'll hear that the guys speak about additives like sugar and salt and those kind of things. It's very good to put that with your bait, but just be careful. Salt is you must know how to use that stuff. Don't start your cooking process with your salt already inside because your maize won't go soft, your hemp won't burst. I don't know, there's something in it that just keeps it from bursting. So what I do is I cook my stuff to maybe 15 minutes. So I say, okay, I've got 15 minutes left. Then I'll put my salt and those kind of things with my feed. And then in that bucket, warm bucket, close it properly and just leave it. Question?
You said you're using a combi link.
Yes.
Combi link. What is your link on the hook itself? Is it like a German link?
No, this specific one I've got here is a blowback. I use basically two that I've done very well with the last couple of years. Actually, the last 4 years, I've only fishing two. and it's a blowback system like this one with a little kicker at the back, and it's got a blowback ring so the bait can go in and out, helps with hooking potential. But I've also done extremely well with a KD system. A KD system is you have this exact same thing, but you don't have the ring. The hair comes in very low from here. It makes the hook stand out very aggressively. And like I said, if you just go look at my Facebook page, I catch a lot of fish, it works.